Anybody else curious how to make time for your mental health in the crazy busy schedule that you have? Danny, I hear you talk about taking time and finding silence. Well, I don't have the time. Where do I find the time? So I want to talk about this a little bit. And I think it's important for me to shed a little light on the fact that like my life wasn't always the way that it is right now. All right, like I got into personal development when I was owning and operating restaurants and was working from 5 a.m. to midnight every day. So I do want to preface by saying like what you see me do now, the amount of time I take dedicated to myself now, has been cultivated over years of work and getting my place and creating the life that I wanted. When I started personal development, when I started learning about all this stuff, I was overworked, overstressed, burnout, overweight. I was tired, I was lethargic, I was angry. I blamed a lot of things for what was going on in my life. I didn't really know how to take full responsibility yet. And I would say that's what personal development helped with the most, is it helped me learn how to take more responsibility for myself. Finding time for myself, I still had to do it, and I had to do it inside of really small windows. So let me explain how I did that for you from the beginning, right? When I first started personal development, I had found myself, I was just waking up every day and I was angry. I was solving problems. I was racing in my mind a mile a minute. And I felt like my heart was gonna explode. I mean, honestly, I will never forget the day that I looked at my wife and I said, I think I'm gonna have a heart attack. Like, I think I'm gonna die. I think the level of stress that I was carrying, the amount of my racing thoughts, I was like, I think this is unhealthy and it's gonna kill me. And my wife was like, why don't you start listening to Tony Robbins? And I didn't know who Tony Robbins was. I knew him from the guy from the Shallow Hal movie. He was the guy in the elevator. And that was all I knew. And my wife said, you should listen to him. I started listening to him. And man, he, like, you know, my God, it changed my life, right? Like, because I had never really been given another way of thinking. I had never really been given another set of beliefs, another set of core values. I had never really been given an instruction manual on how to master my perception so that my life was better, right? I think that works. Yeah, I hadn't learned yet how to master my perception, the way I viewed the world. My lens was that of, you know, probably exhaustion, victimhood, just a bunch of things that didn't serve me, a bunch of character traits and mindset patterns that didn't serve me. So when I started listening to this, it started to change. And I realized a few things. One, I got more time in my day than I let on. Right? Like, I actually can create pockets of time in my day where I'm fully focused on myself and my mental health and my well-being. In the beginning, I didn't think that I had it. But the truth was that a lot of my time was taken up by racing thoughts, by solving problems. And if I got a little bit more organized and I planned a little bit farther ahead, I could actually start creating pockets of time for myself. Holy shit. Yeah, business owner entrepreneur class 101. You have more time than you let yourself believe. And I hadn't figured out how to tap into that. So how do I start making time for my mental health? Well, one, I changed my perception of time and I stopped saying to myself, I don't have any time. And if you're doing that, stop doing that. Okay, you do have time and it doesn't have to be extravagant. You know, mental health grounding can start with 5 to 10 minutes first thing in the morning. Like, you could get up. If you get your coffee, get your water, whatever you start your day with, you can get that, and the next thing be your mental health window. 10, 15 minutes. Maybe you poop. I poop in the morning. Usually it's the first thing I do when I wake up. I get my water, I go take a poop. So after that, hey, whenever. But it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be extravagant. Like now, I spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day on myself and my mental health, but I've created a business and a lifestyle and a life that can let me do that. And in the beginning, I didn't have that kind of time. In the beginning, I had to start chipping away. But just those little 5 or 10 minutes for a mind, a mindset, a belief system that had never felt that before, my God, it was radically shifting my life, changing things in so many ways. So how do you find the time? I believe that you're probably saying that because it feels like you can't find your time. And I'm going to start off by saying you can. It's there. I guarantee you got 30 minutes in your day where you just wasted looking at a screen, probably trying to decompress. Probably because that's an escape. And like, I get it, man. Like, lady, man, whatever. I get it, right? Like, I get that this is a powerful tool for us sometimes, and just looking at our phone helps us to relax, right? Obviously, it really doesn't help us relax. It gets more chemicals churning in the brain. It gets us wanting more, yearning more. It's an escape route that doesn't lead us to somewhere pleasant. So it's breaking the habit of that, and you'll find your time. More than likely. I could be wrong. I'm just saying, most people have about 15, 20, 30 minutes a day that they spend in their phone that they could spend doing something else. So if you can't find the time, start there. And know that, again, it doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be 5 to 10 minutes. The whole name of this game, getting time for yourself, is essentially getting time to help you start thinking different. That's what we need. In this race of life, we need time where we can step away, clear our mind, look at what we have going on, look at it from different angles, start to think a little differently. And these things start to change our life. They ground us. They help us with our mental health and our clarity. Mental health is needed because in a world that we live in, there's a lot of fast moving parts and it starts to junk things up. We need it to be flowing like a river, right? Like, think of the world as like the beaver, and like social media is like beaver on crack, right? It's just like moving super fast. It's like clogging up the river. We need this thing to flow. And in order for us to find that flow, I can't think of another analogy with the beaver. We got to clear the river. And in order to clear it, we got to take time away from social media. That's time away from the beaver building the house. We got to take time away from the noise. Think about every time that you step away from the noise, that allows your inner music to play. It allows that inner wisdom to come out. And that's the sounds that will change your life. It's the sounds that you really want to hear. It's the sounds I think that we all want. We don't want the inner critic as much, but I will say that having that inner cheerleader, that inner motivator, is amazing. And you can find them in those moments where you give yourself the time for your mental health and your peace. And that's how I found it. And hopefully that's helpful and maybe helpful for you to find.